and there's just wide areas you can simply walk across. Now, this TerraBlock system, especially being a smart system, is going to take a lot to really break it. I can imagine maybe one time or a few people break it, but it's also reconfigurable. It's mobile. So I try to dig under it. You realize you're digging under it. Well, you move it a few yards. I mean, there's so many flexible solutions. You can detect it because it's a smart wall. You have the ability to combine various kinds of surveillance systems, with this being a very difficult barrier to climb. You can't cut it, can't drive a vehicle through it. And with the unprotected border we have right now, it seems to me, we're facing a criminal drug war. And look at this massacre we just had in Mexico. I don't think we can afford to leave Americans on the border unprotected.
I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Hello, American patriots. Douglas Ducote here. The Second Amendment, it's not for hunting. It's for protecting ourselves against our government. Well, the last thing you need to worry about is your weapon being rusted and not working. Folks, here's your product. FirearmGuard.com. Use promo code Doug for free shipping. This will protect your weapon from any rust and mildew issues. Please welcome our guest, Chris Barbarino. Am I saying that last name correct?
You have it correct.
Okay. And also, Dr. Corsi's back with us. Thank you, sir, for coming back here. And
my great pleasure.
And
good to be back.
Bringing this to my attention last Tuesday. Look, Chris, this, from everything I've seen so far and everything I've heard, is the answer to our prayers on that border. I've been going down there. I've been talking to the border agents. I've been talking to the sheriff's departments that are down there on the border, state police, all law enforcement, and they are begging for something to get erected that's going to help with problems we have coming across that border. So I don't know where you gentlemen would like to start into this, but I'm going to open it up to you guys to discuss this system and how it came to be and where we're going to go with this, because I'm very excited and I hope my audience is as well. And we will push this all the way up to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and hopefully he's going to push it right back to us and out there on that border.
Well, let me just say it's been my pleasure to work with Chris Barbarino. This product, which I'm going to let Chris introduce here, is one that caught my attention because the whole TerraBlock product, and you just showed the video, thank you. You can see it's rapid deployment. These are the types of products that a company, HESCO, you saw featured in the video, manufactures for the Department of Defense, and it specializes in the rapid deployment of perimeter defenses for military overseas. And so as I learned about this TerraBlock project, and Chris Barbarino's company would be the one doing the supplying of this to the federal government as a GSA contract. It was clear that, when we put troops in harm's way, these are maybe our most valuable human beings on the face of the earth defending the country, and we want immediate, rapid deployment of a defense perimeter that will work. And if the TerraBlock system and other HESCO products are accepted by the military to defend our soldiers in combat zones, Middle East and Syria and Iraq and other danger zones, then why couldn't we use this product to rapidly deploy in an economically efficient way on the border and get the border secure by election day, when I found out it was going to cost under $1 billion to manufacture this within the amount that President Trump already has in the budget without going back to Congress. I said, look, I'm enthusiastic to get the word out, and I want to turn it over to Chris here for some comments, because Chris represents Provengo, who is the company who will do the supplying. He's the president and CEO of Provengo, who will do the supplying GSA contract to get the HESCO product in the border for the federal government. And Chris, want to make a few comments?
Well, Dr. Corsi, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure when you have a product like the TerraBlock solution where it sells itself. You see the video, you see the dynamic of it, you see the rapid deployment of it. It's a system that works. Just to give a little bit of background of Provengo and why I'm here representing. Provengo is a defense contractor, like Dr. Corsi mentioned. We have two channels of business. We supply the U.S. military and federal government with a number of protective, operational, tactical equipment systems. We focus on fielding equipment, sustainment, fielding the product expeditiously, and putting a cost-effective measure in it. Our other sales channel, where maybe some of your viewers are going to Provengo.com, doesn't say that. We've created an online marketplace for military, first responders, law enforcement, active duty veteran, retired individuals, of a closed marketplace where they're able to provide value. So our goal as a company is always to find the right solution, the right product, and provide it at a great value and cost savings. As our administration had alluded to very early on, we have a major problem down at our border. And the scope of work that was defined initially, we saw a number of manufacturers and vendors presenting solutions that were within that scope that the president had defined. We feel that this system, although it isn't in the exact scope that he identified, meets the requirement. And more importantly, meets the need that we have. And it's more of a realistic need that we can put forward. It is a system that we could field quickly. It is a system that we could deploy quickly. It is a system that stops climbing, that is anti-vehicle intrusion, that is ballistic, that has clear panels and gateways. It's a smart system. It has a PID system, perimeter intrusion detection system, that we'll speak to. And most importantly, it's a tremendous cost savings from any solution that's been proposed thus far.
That's outstanding. Right now, we're looking at, at the current rate, we're going money that we just don't have to finish the project. We're sure not going to finish it by 2020 at this rate. But with this being a rapid deployment system, look, I served 4 combat tours, and of course, I wish when I was in, we would have had this system. We had just basic concrete barricades that we'd put up, and we'd put up concertina wire and regular fencing, and we had to have people own our border protection at all times, because there was just no system at that time that would do what this one does. One of the things that a lot of people keep bringing up, and I've seen in numerous conversations, is how, no matter how much border you put up, there's going to be a way, it's like prisoners in jail, for instance. They have nothing but time on their hands to figure out how they're going to get around security set up in situations. Well, no different with this border, okay? Yes, they're going to probably be able to dig under. Yes, they're going to finally find a way to climb over it, but that's going to happen with any type system we put over there. I mean, am I wrong by that? I mean, just, this is just, it's better than not having anything. And from what I'm seeing, it's better than the slats that we're putting up. So can you address that a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, you said it correctly. There is no foolproof system out there. This is a deterrent system. It's a system, though, that could be put out quickly in the time that we need it. Do you want to say something, Dr. Corsi?
Well, in the work I've done, I did a lot of work for the State Department on combating terrorism. I wrote a paper in the 80s that it was a computer model that predicted the outcome of terrorist events, and I was trained by the best psychiatrists. I did a lot of work, and in final analysis, you've got to think about what they call, target hardening. In other words, you want to make it much more difficult. Right now, this 1,200 miles of the border is wide open. I mean, I've been on the border. I wrote the book Minutemen with Jim Gilchrist in 2006. I've been on the border a lot, including with the Border Patrol. And there's just wide areas you can simply walk across. Now, this TerraBlock system, especially being a smart system, is going to take a lot to really break it. I can imagine maybe one time or a few people break it, but it's also reconfigurable. It's mobile. So I try to dig under it. You realize you're digging under it. Well, you move it a few yards. I mean, there's so many flexible solutions. You can detect it because it's a smart wall. You have the ability to combine various kinds of surveillance systems, with this being a very difficult barrier to climb. You can't cut it, can't drive a vehicle through it. And with the unprotected border we have right now, it seems to me, we're facing a criminal drug war. And look at this massacre we just had in Mexico. I don't think we can afford to leave Americans on the border unprotected. We have sponsored, my family, we've sponsored families to come here legally from El Salvador. I'm fully in favor of legal immigration. I think it's great for the country. But I do not think with drug cartels, who are animals, vicious, killing babies, burning them alive. I mean, this was a horrific attack. I don't think we can allow the border to be unprotected any longer. And this TerraBlock solution, President Trump can go to the electorate in November saying, I fulfilled a promise. I did it for $1 billion, and the border is now secure. And we can improve it from there. That's the point. Right now, we're at such a disadvantage that this solution, as soon as I saw it, I said, we've got to bring this to the nation. And I'll tell you, Douglas, getting on your show and having the opportunity to present this to your audience who are, so intensely patriotic to want to secure the border, this is the right audience to learn about this product. And we thank you greatly for the opportunity.
Well, yeah, and thank you guys. We have to work together in everything that we do, to keep making this country the best that it can possibly be. And, without borders, without some type of security, then you just don't have a country. And we already know that there are plenty of people that would prefer that. They don't mind, putting locks on their doors and having big walls built around their homes. For the same reason that we need something like that on our borders. It says that it's difficult to climb. What exactly is how is it set up to where someone can't climb it? Is it because of the smallness of the holes that are there, or what exactly stops somebody from scaling it, let's say?
Chris,
so the nature of the fence, yes, the nature of the fence structure is built around a 358 mesh system. It's a welded wire system that's tightly knit and woven. You can't put a finger through one of those gaps. So you can't scale it from that perspective. It gives you some of the requirements that the government wanted to have, a visual see-through passage, because you have those gaps. It gives you the ability to not only provide that anti-climbing mechanism, but also the vehicle deterrent, as we're seeing in that video repeating.
Hey,
Okay,
Doug.
base structure.
Hey, Doug, if you don't mind,
Yeah, go ahead,
this is producer Dustin. I'm watching the chat. So a couple of things. I just want to point out quickly to the audience. So the numbers that we have from Customs and Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security now is there's roughly 650 miles of the border that has some type of barrier, whether that be slats, roadblocks, etc. That's mainly what President Trump has been rebuilding, are the slats in those areas. Then there's roughly 12 to 1,300 miles of nothing, wide open. So this is what we're addressing right now. Are we going to have a 35-foot tall steel reinforced concrete wall across those 12 to 1,300 miles by the election? No, there's not even plans to do that. There's not the funding to do that. So on this show, what we're trying to focus on is introducing you to solutions. We have to start bringing forward real solutions, putting these solutions in the laps of the politicians, and then saying why. Why will you not spend $1 billion, work in cooperation with HESCO, with Chris's company, and then with the Army Corps of Engineers to install this system? Something that just came up, I just want you to address because everyone's asking. So you told me on the phone today, it's roughly about 3 meters, roughly 10 feet high, but when you add your coiled barbed wire system on the top, it brings it up about another 3 feet. Again, it's not a solution that's going to be a catch-all, but my opinion is if it stops 10% of the flow, 20% of the flow, 50% of the flow, if you couple this with the PID technology you're talking about, and then with either Border Patrol and or National Guard response teams, that when they know someone's trying to breach it, they can respond. You know, in my eyes, the numbers can go up to 70, 80%. I don't understand. You're never going to get 100%, and we're never going to get that 35-foot tall concrete wall, especially by the election. This is an immediate solution. Then we can look for other solutions, but this is an immediate solution that can happen right now.
I think that's the key. That's the key point. I want to make a point and let Chris address this too. That look, the 35-foot wall. When you think about, we want a wall. Sure, that's the first idea that comes to mind. This is a modern technological solution. I mean, I go way back. I watched television in black and white, little tiny tube. Well, today I watch television on a cell phone, and it's much better. It's live streaming as we're doing right now. So let's not think about the structure as being this wall, this 35-foot wall. Let's think about it being the kind of barrier. Rapid deployment is critical. And then secondly, flexibility, modular, and the ability to have it be secure and smart so that it can combine with other systems such that our Border Patrol, which I've spent time with, are increasingly sophisticated technologically, can use this as a tool, which this 1,200 miles, President Trump can come to the American people and say, I secured it. If we were going to have to build these 35 feet tall things, it's going to cost us $22 billion. I don't know how many years it would take. We need really flat land to put these in. A lot of the land in Texas is not flat. And the Congress was never going to appropriate this. So I didn't need Congress. I mean, these are the key points, I think, that add to the fact that we got to look for real solutions that really work. And that's where the TerraBlock solution really drew my attention immediately. Chris, you want to comment on that?
Thank you. The TerraBlock is the first step in this grand solution that our government needs. You referenced a prison before. Prison yards have all these tall fences with barbed wire at top. They also have posts. So we need to understand the pre-positioned post with the government, how many tactical teams they envision that they're going to be placing. So there's a family of different products within the TerraBlock suite. And based on the geographical terrain, we're going to identify with our team of engineers the right solution for the right placement in each of those geographical areas. HESCO is owned by a company called Presidia. Presidia has a number of intrusion detection systems of different brands. The intent is to put the TerraBlock system in place as one component and then combine it with other smart technology. We spoke about this being a smart wall. That smart wall is a PID system. It detects vibration. So that vibration will send a signal. but there are other means of technology that we could leverage in this Presidia family with radar detection in possible some terrain where we can't put any type of structure in place. So again, the TerraBlock solution is the first step in meeting this requirement.
What, talking about barbed wire, what do we have at the top of this fence?
So we envision that there's going to be a tightly woven coiled barbed wire. I believe you referenced before, it exceeds the height, and it's maxing out at 3.9 meters presently.
Hey, one more quick question that keeps coming up in the chat. I actually got some people texting me. How long does the and again, we're talking about adding other elements, bringing different systems together, but overall, how long does the TerraBlock system last? What's its lifespan without it being crashed into by a truck, as in the demo?
I believe they have it marked with a 10-year lifespan. I'd have to confirm that, but I believe that's what it's supporting currently. Right,
and again, to the audience, I mean, the thing that, well, I went to school for industrial design, so finally I'm excited about seeing something like this, because this is what I should have went into. But no, it's modular, and that's the nice part. If part of it gets destroyed, you can connect a new piece. You can move sections around. If one area, 1 mile stretch isn't working the way we planned, you can replace it. As you told me on the phone, there's several different types of systems within the TerraBlock family that could be deployed depending on the terrain and the landscape as well, correct?
That's correct.
And see, the other part of this is that if it needs to be moved or repositioned, I mean, let's say you've got these big 35-foot walls, which, again, I'm not really, I think those serve a purpose too. But the point is, if we reach some agreements with Mexico, if we, 10 years from now is a long time. And what we've got to worry about is the damage that's being done between now and the next 10 years. We might be able, with solutions that President Trump is talking about, to make some massive impact on the drug cartels. And one thing we could do is, end the money laundering that the banks have done. I caught HSBC money laundering 2012 for banks, the huge bank with money from Mexican drug cartels. There's many solutions to these problems, and the TerraBlock allows us to say, okay, we're going to stop the hemorrhaging at the border of criminals and drug cartels. That's the real focus here. And it's important to understand that the border is not, poor families who are heartbroken in Guatemala and need a better life and are coming to escape violence. The border is controlled by the coyotes and the drug cartels. You don't get close to that border without being raped, your property taken from you, paying enormous amounts of money to get to the border. This is organized criminal activity we're dealing with in Mexico, and we have to deal with it that way in order to protect the Americans on the border and to protect our national security. That's why I'm looking for, and have been looking for, a solution that works that we can put in place now, not 10 years from now, not at $22 billion, but $1 billion done by election day is very appealing.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that point you made real quick, because I'm looking at the chat again. Some people are saying, well, we've seen what Brian Colfage and We Build the Wall group did with Fisher Construction Company, where they built some big wall up along the side of a hill. And what I was telling people today responding to that is, yeah, okay, that's great, and I hope they continue to do it. In the meantime, there's 1,200 to 1,300 miles that are wide open where we can deploy a solution like this. And then, yes, let Brian Colfage and that crew go and keep buying private land and building, and we start pulling TerraBlock out and building big pieces. But right now, we need to plug this hole. This has been the fight for the last 15 to 30 years, really since the days of Reagan, and we've gotten nothing accomplished. We keep talking, and everyone that's saying, well, it's not going to stop everything in tunneling. No, but if it can stop a percentage of the flow, we are much better off tomorrow than we are today.
Yeah, we talk about the 1,200 miles. We talk about the 1,200 miles and putting things in perspective of a rapid deployment. From the time that an order could potentially be executed, we're talking 6 months to deploy 1,200 miles of product. 6 months. Manufacturing the product, deploying the product.
And I just want to bring up, because you said on the phone with me earlier today, the concept is that you guys would work in cooperation with the Army Corps of Engineers and or the DoD to and you would oversee all the project management, but you would use the Army Corps of Engineers to actually do the installation, correct?
That's the ideal proposal. That's the best way I believe the government will save additional funds without bringing additional contractors in for doing labor components to this.
Yeah, and the military is already used to doing it.
Right. And, again, it's the same idea when so we're sending troops over to a combat zone in the Middle East. First of all, it's imperative you get the perimeter defenses up immediately. You can't say, wait a minute, guys, it's going to take us a month, or wait, we have to get an allocation for a 35-foot wall. You've got to have the same sense of urgency right now on the border, because it always gets framed as a humanitarian crisis. Well, look, the humanitarian crisis, I'm happy to solve in a legal fashion. It can be solved in a legal fashion. It's the criminals, the drug cartels, the violence, the inability to know who's coming across the border, the gangs from El Salvador, the criminal tattooed gangs. These are the criminal elements that we want to make sure we keep out. And so, to me, looking at what solves the problem for the military and applying that to the border is a kind of out-of-the-box solution that I think opens up a new way of looking at the problem. We're not looking for 100% you can keep everybody out, but it will make it much more difficult, and it will deter a lot of people. Even for the criminals, they're now going to be faced with another barrier that can be reinforced with military, can be reinforced with border patrol, electronics, surveillance, so that we actually have a modern day solution to a very serious law enforcement problem. That's the way I think the border needs to be defined.
I just want to address something else I'm seeing in the chat. So some people are saying, let's do a cost-benefit analysis, my opinion, not cost-effective. Now, let's say they can deliver the actual physical material ready to go for $1 billion. Let's say you added another $1 billion in technology and smart technology. You have the Army Corps of Engineers that we're paying anyway to put this thing up. And again, we couple this with Border Patrol rapid response teams, National Guard rapid response teams. It's very cost effective, especially considering that illegal immigration costs us over $100 billion a year. Everyone keeps saying, let's do it right the first time. Well, okay, what do you want to wait? You want to wait another year till after the election? Maybe you get a Republican House. Maybe you hold the Senate. The Republicans held the House the first 2 years of Trump. They didn't give us anything. So right now, I don't think we have time to wait. Again, this is the beginning of I'm telling you, if Trump started deploying this, you watch the Democrats come to the table, because they are not going to be happy about this going up. And Dr. Corsi, can you address how you, from what I've heard, you guys have a proposal that's worked its way up to the Oval Office, and we just want to know, from the political side, from the legal side, you were saying that the money's already been allocated technically by what Trump was able to pull out of the DOD fund. So you're saying he can do this without going to the Democrats, without going to the Senate, and do this through an executive order?
Oh, that's as far as I understand. I've looked at it and researched it. The money has been allocated. The DOD budget has easily allocated $1 billion more for construction of the wall. And the president can simply make an executive decision, executive order to do this. Now, the way it works, and I've done a lot of work over going back to when I wrote Unfit for Command and on the Swift boat issue. I know how the politics works. It's not just getting a proposal to the White House. It's what we're doing on this show today is extremely important, because Washington responds when the people demand. I mean, the congressional offices are small. People begin calling their Congress person, and 20, 30, 40 calls, these offices are beginning to notice. The White House switchboard, they tell the president, we're getting these calls on TerraBlock. We don't even know what it is, but everybody's talking about it. Well, pretty soon, President Trump's going to say, okay, now what is TerraBlock? And that he has a proposal on his desk doesn't mean that there's so many things that go on in the president's mind every day, that coming from the people up to say
Dr. Corsi frees up.
it reframes the entire discussion, and that's why this program is so important.
Amen. And that's one thing that our audience definitely needs to do, folks. I mean, I couldn't have said that any better. You know, I'm always telling everyone, listen, you've got to reach out daily, if you can, to members of Congress, members that are in not only your districts, in your state, in your counties, your senators, your congressmen, but also everyone else, and especially the upper leadership. They don't like to hear my name up in Washington, D.C. these days because of all the phone calls I make, and and on Twitter and on Facebook, and the videos that I do. Funny thing is, I just got asked actually tonight to take down some information that I did on the election that's coming up here for a new governor in Louisiana. And that's not going to happen. But if the people make the phone calls, share this video, put it out there on all your social media platforms, that's how we make this take place. That's how we get it noticed. That's how we get the interest of the people that actually care to secure this. Now, one of the thoughts that came to mind, and I don't know if either one of y'all know the answer to this, but I know from past exposure that what we've seen through our government is there are times when a lot of different companies get in on deals to help something with the government. Do we know exactly how many companies right now are currently building concrete barriers down there on our border?
I don't have the total number. I do know about a month ago, there was an award by the DHS to 3 companies for a little over $800 million for 65 miles of border. 65 miles, 800 million.
Jeez.
I know there are more companies, but that's the most recent.
And the other thing is that, look, the point is, HESCO has already been working on the border. There's HESCO workers today using HESCO product on the existing border. We're coming in with Chris's company, Provengo, as a supplier, and HESCO as the manufacturer. These are companies who are known in Washington. Now, the technical solutions here and the discussion of the technical issues, I'm sure, will be debated and reviewed at DOD. There will be competitors, but you have a robust set of systems here with TerraBlock that I think are going to show the application to military will be transferable to the border situation. And all the specifications, there are various technical papers available on the internet on TerraBlock that show the specifications of the product and the not just the videos, but also technical papers. And I've been posting those and will continue to do so on my Twitter account, which is Jerome_Corsi, at Jerome_Corsi, all lowercase. And I'm not nearly as technically, I'm not an engineer. I mean, Chris has got the engineers and the technical background. So I'm sure, Chris, as the company gets questioned by DOD or the public, the technical questions can be answered because the applications have already been made. Am I correct on that, Chris?
That is correct, but I will correct you. I'm not an engineer.
Well, I'll say that's to your plus. I mean, maybe maybe not, but you know.
I like to put the smart people around me. No, what the envision is, which I alluded to earlier, we will bring a team in of engineers, identify the complete landscape of the 1,200-mile terrain, and identify the right solution for each of those installations, and then identify additional components within that family of products that can aid in building more smart technology around the solution.
Where is this? Where's the company building the product right now?
It's in the UK.
Okay. If my producer would agree. We should take off to the UK and go do a live video stream from there on the building of this product so we can show it. I don't think that's going to happen. Guys, I'm 100% on board with this. And we will do everything on our end to keep putting the word out there. And for the people that subscribe to us and are part of this program and watch us on YouTube and at DouglasDucote.com, listen, you've got to get the information out there. You've got to share this with your family, with your friends, and on all your social media platforms. That is very, very important. The more, it's the squeaky wheel that gets the most grease. Listen, we've got to make this happen. I've been down there. I've shown y'all this. I reported. I spent my birthday, April 17th, down there, letting you know what we have going on down there on that border and how horrible it was, and showed you sections and sections of land that has absolutely, you can just walk right across. Okay, you can drive across. There's no border there or no wall there, nothing to stop these bad elements from coming across and then doing more danger to us here in America. So I can't stress enough that we've got to push this product and let it be a household name. Have people wanting to know, what is this? And I strongly believe, from everything I've seen and heard so far, that this is the answer that we've been looking for. Because without this, come 2020, there's not going to be a wall built, folks. It's going to take a long time and a lot of money that we don't have to continue to do concrete construction.
Yeah, and Douglas, real quick, I just want to say, and to the audience out there, there's always going to be naysayers. I know everyone is in a very negative mood lately because we're not seeing deep state arrests and all these other things. But look, the way I look at this thing is, if you build a wall around your house, but there's a chance that people can scale it or tunnel under it, is that going to deter you from building that layer of protection? You could put an alarm system on your house. Certain crooks could still break in and get in and steal things and harm your family. You could have your weapon to defend yourself, and you might still get shot. So why are you sitting here and saying, well, let's wait till we get the money to do the whole thing? We're 3 years into Donald Trump's presidency. There's no plan for 1,200 miles in that area. You're saying you want to wait for the 4 years? The new reports just came out. We believe over 600,000 illegal aliens got in, broke into the country this last year. Over 1 million came and showed up, and we're releasing them all over the country. If we don't have a barrier, forget about it. It's done and over with. So why would you not get behind a solution that can be deployed quickly, even if accepted as this, a temporary solution to plug the hole while we start to work on building larger sections of concrete wall? It's a no-brainer, and if you don't get behind it, it basically says to me that you're not serious about wanting to solve this problem. And I also would challenge President Trump as well, as this moves up the chain, and he's got this and he's looked at it and you know it. It's on him to explain to us why he won't deploy a system like this. I think in combination with what Doug talked about in April, which is deploying National Guard under presidential command, it would be a perfect situation to couple National Guard response teams with this wall and the smart technology. Right now, that's the best we can get. It's doable, it's affordable, it can be deployed quickly, and it can be done without a congressional bill. So it's a win-win. There's no losing in this at all.
I agree, 100%. To both of you, Chris, and give us a closing statement, I guess, basically about the product and what we've got here that we're going to push with.
Chris, why don't you go first?
It's continuing on what we've heard this whole segment. It's a need. It solves a problem. It's a solution that meets a desperate need for our country right now. Fast deployment, fast building, giving our country the ability to save money, countless dollars, and putting in that level of protection that we've never had. You know, this platform that you've given me to share with your audience, Doug and Dr. Corsi, I just want to thank both of you, you know, for helping us get this word and this message out there about this product. Now, for those that don't know the brand HESCO, HESCO is a household name within the U.S. Armed Forces on a whole host of different products. So it's a family of product that knows our U.S. military and the importance of infrastructure and reliability of products. And I think that this is a huge opportunity for us to share it with everyone. And I thank you.
Excellent.
And Doug, I just want to thank you, Doug, for the opportunity. I mean, we're committed, Chris and I, to your audience. We're very, very thankful for the opportunity to present the TerraBlock product and solution. And we're happy to answer the questions. There are many questions. There's people have legitimate concerns. We want to answer them. We want to be honest in the answers and to admit, you know, what we can do and what is going to want to be done yet. And no solution is going to be perfect. But what the impact here is the opportunity to change the national dialogue, which Douglas, your audience has, and we want to just give you our heartfelt thanks, but additionally, our commitment that whatever you need for us to continue explaining the story, you just call on us and we'll be happy to be there.
And thank you both very much for coming on and sharing this. Like I said, Team Ducote is on board. I personally want to see this system get put on that border tomorrow if we could make it happen that quick. You both are great American patriots. Thank you so much. You've shared a lot of information with us, and I do believe that those that watch the program are going to do exactly what we need to have them do to help us make America great and keep America moving forward 2020 and beyond to do what it takes to keep Americans safe. So thank you both. God bless you. And we'll be seeing you soon. I want to continue to talk about this product and move forward to getting it out there.
Thank you very much. God bless you and God bless your great audience. Thank you. We appreciate being with you tonight.